everyone.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi, people.
Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Greg, take it away.
Me? Take it away? Oh. I thought Eowyn was the host. But okay, well, welcome everyone.
I thought Sandy was for this one. Well, I think we have a special guest.
We do have a special guest.
We do.
I am seriously jealous.
Orange guest.
Yeah, so Eowyn, who's our special guest for this collaboration?
Oh,
There we go.
He is adorable.
What's his name? His name is Newton.
Oh, Newton. Nice.
Newton is ready to collaborate.
He's ready to collaborate. He wants to feel the power of collaboration. He's ready.
Whoa, feel the power.
Oh my gosh.
He signed the honor code.
He's ready to work.
That's right.
It's awesome.
Yeah. The only question is, what has he done many DNA tests yet?
He's done stuff. Yes, many DNA tests.
Oh, yes. What's his ethnicity?
He has a very large family, large tree. Well, Greg, you know I'm going to say we need a fan chart for him.
We need a fan chart for him.
But a different fan chart, a true fan, like of a rock band fan.
Yeah.
You know what I do? I do need to make him a free space page.
Oh. Yes.
Oh, that'd be good.
He needs his own free space page.
And he needs his history profile too, right?
And take pictures of him when he, wherever he's at a special event, just for like those.
Yes, we can have pictures of him on there. That would be super fun.
Like the gnomes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. We've got lots of people in the chats here already.
Yeah. Well, we're saying hello to everybody. Lots of friends here.
Chris Witten's with us today.
Oh, excellent.
Yay.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Yay, Chris. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have our Chris squared, our usual.
Oh, yeah, both Chris's are in the chat.
Excellent.
Not to be confused with one another.
Right. And hello to everyone who's watching this after the fact on demand.
That's true. We do have a lot of people that are watching us afterwards because we're global. And some are working, believe it or not, instead of watching us here chit chat about Newton and how we can get our own Newton.
Yeah.
My Newton. My Newton.
We should collaborate and figure out a way to so all of us can get a Newton.
Absolutely. I want a Newton. I'm jealous.
He can go from house to house.
The important question is, will Newton come to Roots Tech?
He will be at Roots Tech.
Yes, Shelley.
Definitely. And you can get selfies with Newton.
Yes. Lots of selfies with Newton.
He will have
Newton's getting a t-shirt too.
He's gonna have a t-shirt. It's
gonna be decked out.
Yeah. It'll be very exciting. This is gonna be a fun hour because this is WikiTree's birthday. As we know, this is the birthday bash. I have a half massacred cupcake. So the theme is to eat cake today. So we have half a cupcake, and it's very messy too, I might add. So those are the best kind. And we've got WikiTreeers in the studio and WikiTreeers in chat as well. Mm-hmm. So is anybody in chat new to WikiTree? Like brand new, let's say 1 month old.
Oh.
As we talk, because this hour is we're bringing you WikiTreeers in the studio to talk about collaboration and how we work together with one tree. And one tree is sometimes a unique concept with genealogy, right? We've got other sites that have a bazillion trees for my grandmother, and 5 of them are right, so it's kind of difficult to do. So we come together as WikiTreeers to work on one profile per person, one tree, and we're celebrating the 17th anniversary of WikiTree today.
So WikiTree's been driving for a year now.
Yes, driving for a year.
No car accidents.
Now we were saying earlier because the site was a little bit slow, and so we were saying it's because WikiTree's a temperamental teenager.
That's right.
That's true. Yep, they have their own way about them.
So true. So as we talk about the power of collaboration, let's dig in. This is the panel for today as birthday bash. So I'm going to ask a question, and anybody who would like to answer it and add two answers to it, feel free. So can each of you share a time when collaborating with another genealogist or community resource has made a breakthrough in your research within WikiTree?
Me. Call on me. Well, because mine actually links in with what we do here at WikiTree. So let me tell a really brief story. At a conference, those of us who sit at vendor tables, you know how it is. The room, the vendor hall empties out and just us sitting at the tables are there. Well, I was blessed that Michelle Chubnenko was in the hall nearby the booth I was. And so I went over to talk to her because I've been trying to find my Polish ancestors forever. And she does Eastern Europe. So, I went over and sat with her, and so whatever class it was had ended. I had taken my laptop over to her with my tree on it. And by the time the next empty space, another class started, she came over with my laptop and she's like, "Here's your village." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Okay, well, now you know what to do, right?" And I'm like, "No." And so that was a discussion. But last year, I was really blessed that WikiTreeers helped me on a challenge. And so WikiTreeers found not only my village, but all sorts of ancestors, all sorts of Polish records. And now my WikiTree has just gotten really huge. Yeah, really awesome. And the team that worked on my Polish family were incredible, but there were other people that joined in and worked on other lines of my family, helping me with my Acadians and my, like a whole bunch of people. So thank you. But the collaboration first with Michelle, I wouldn't have found out where in Poland. And second with WikiTreeers and marvelous people from around the world, including, I gather, some people in Poland, actually helped my tree to grow. So
that's fantastic.
Really
amazing.
And I might add, free.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Elaine, how about you?
She's unmuting.
Okay. Breakthrough collaborating with, this one isn't my personal research, but a professor just emailed the U.S. Black Heritage Exchange team last week. Heritage Exchange is our program for managing slavery profiles and creating ways to connect people. She had come across one of our space pages, free space pages, listing slaves with no names and also estate files with just first names of enslaved people. She found her third great grandmother and a couple of other family members on there. And so she's asking if we can help a little build that out. But actually, she really doesn't need that much help. She's writing a book on it. But it was our research that she came across that helped spur the book and opening up her family lines and everything. And I wouldn't say that exact thing happens all the time, but it happens pretty frequently. And that was just 2 weeks ago. So
that's really awesome because we're talking about really challenging finds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does not happen every day. But it's happened more than once with our U.S. Black Heritage Project, and it's really cool to see.
That's awesome.
And Greg, what about you?
So I've had a number of those. When we do the Secret Santa contest or challenge in December, lots and lots of collaboration goes on and lots of brick walls or investigations are happening. But I think the first big one that happened to me was when I ended up helping out a fellow WikiTreeer. I had developed the fan chart, and one of the features I had added was showing the path for Y DNA inheritance, mitochondrial DNA inheritance, and X DNA inheritance. And I think at this point I'd started joining the roundup. So there was someone who knew that I had had some Quebec records expertise because of my French Canadian family, and she reached out and she said she had one great grandparent. Her name was Azilda, and I think it was Azilda Trepanier, but it was something like that. But it was a really unusual first name. And I had a relative who had that exact same name, but it was really strange. Now, it wasn't the same person, but the area. So I thought, well, I'll try and help her out. And as it turns out, she actually is a cousin. And we're actually, so I found the birth marriage records for this person, and then got all of them back to the founding of Quebec, and then moved forward and discovered that she had this ancestor had then emigrated to the States, and then ended up in the top west area around there. And then I made the connection of how when I did her family back, I realized how it connected to mine. And then with the thing that I'd done with the fan chart, realized, oh, that's an X. She's on one of those rare lines that call an X chromosome. And I wasn't an X match with her, but I was an X match with her sister and her son. I did have anyways, I found an X match, so I was able to validate that line because of the X chromosome. And I also learned that some of my Quebec relatives, none of my directs, but a bunch of them, actually, a lot of the great aunts and uncles and cousins moved to the States. So that was a whole new area that I had to investigate, that I didn't realize that I would have American French cousins. So
Nice.
there we go.
That is very nice. And it's, again, the power of WikiTree just mentioned. And then a volunteer comes around and says, I think I can help. Let's work together.
Mhm.
And Emma, what about you?
So back to what Elaine was saying, she said it doesn't happen all the time. And it's funny because just this Sunday, somebody was telling me that because of one of our plantations, she was able to find one of her great, third great grandparents. And there was her additional family also listed on the plantation. And she was able to build out an entire part of her tree because of that plantation. So it does happen a lot. It's happening more and more all the time, thanks to that work that we're doing. But one of my favorite stories that I like to tell, a personal story, is back in 2017 when my grandfather was in his last days. I wanted to do something genealogically for his family to, give him some. He also was into genealogy, and I wanted to give him something new he didn't know about. So I went on to G2G, and I said, I have the names of the next generation for my Norwegian family over the water, but I can't figure out how to find them. I have an idea of where they live. Can anybody help me figure this out? And there was a woman who lived in Norway and had access to the farm books. And she's like, yeah, here's your family right here. And she showed me how to use the records so that I was able to go in, and because once you know how to use the records, it's easier to find more family. I now have like 5 additional generations on my Norwegian line because she took the time to come help me figure out how to get over the water and to the next generation. And I'm still building on that family. So it's something I'll never forget.
And you know what's interesting about that is, even though your records were probably online, some records are not. And we do need somebody to be physically present in a location that would take us a lot of money and a lot of airtime miles to get there. And they're willing, free, the power of collaboration, to go look up church records, for example.
And those records, those farm books, you're right, they're not available to everybody, but they are available to people who live in Norway. So she was able to access them, whereas I would not. But thankfully, there were also some public records that she was able to teach me how to use as well. So yeah, if she hadn't done that, I wouldn't have those lines now.
Right.
That's fantastic. In Eowyn?
I was trying to think. I wouldn't say that I've had like a huge breakthrough on lines, but I was thinking about it on a bit of a smaller scale. And what I love, and I've gotten a few of these recently, is people have just emailed to say like, hey, I came across this profile of yours. I just have some sources and I wanted to add some sources to it and, just improve it a little bit. And, I haven't had time to go and look at all the sources that people are adding, but I would imagine at some point one of those will lead to some kind of breakthrough. And I think that's, kind of the power of the collaboration is there are huge breakthroughs for sure, but every day there's these little pieces being added that will eventually be a breakthrough for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
Yeah.
It's Nia.
Yeah. So the breakthrough I want to share is not a personal research one, but so I volunteer with the Afro-American Historical and Genealogical Society, and one of our main benefactors, her name was Frances Holloway Wynn, and I've been working with another OGS member to get more information about her because I wanted her to have a presence on WikiTree. So I did add a profile for her on WikiTree, and she was also a prominent North Carolina genealogist. And so I added her profile, and just a couple of months ago, a Holloway researcher contacted me and thanked me for adding her profile. Because of what I had added, he was able to realize she was the author of the book about the Holloway lineage. So he had known the name of her, but not really who she was. And so when I added the profile, that enabled him to figure out, oh, she's the author. And he told me it really helped him get more insight into her work in this book and the work she had done on this Holloway lineage. And I thought, wow, and it was almost immediate. Like I added her profile, and within a week, he responded and said, thank you. So I think that goes to show, again, the topic what we're here today, the power of collaboration, because he was able to take what I'd added and build onto it. And it helped him better understand her research work for the Holloway lineage in North Carolina and Virginia. So that was good.
I'm going to brag on you a little bit too, because it's also, if you had just put up a profile, as we learned earlier this week, if you just put up basic information, hardly anything at all, that might have not happened. So because you did an excellent profile as well, that was seen. I'm going to share with you, I've got one really quick story because I want to brag on Team Italy and Azure for just a second. As you know, the power of collaborations, we need social media. We can keep WikiTree free, and this is how people are finding us for WikiTree Week as well. And as you know, Azure does a tremendous amount of social media work. And on a research party 2 years ago, I was looking for on my husband's stepsister's line. She'd never seen a picture of her grandmother, and she never knew anything about her grandmother, and we didn't even know where she was born. As Greg, we always laugh, in Italy.
Yeah.
Well, that's not good enough. That's not really good enough. So during a research party, we were just sitting there, all Chris and Frank and Azure, and we were just playing around with the sources, and Azure found it in 10 seconds or less. So she found that the grandmother was actually born in America, and then from who she married into, Chris and Frank took the husband's line about 4 degrees back from Italy while we were searching for that. But I want to mention something that is probably my weirdest and biggest problem and story in my family tree is my Linger family line, my biological father's line. And I reached out to the Germany project and said, could you please help me? Apparently his family came to America. They were Hessians. Could you help me? And almost instantly, because of their knowledge and expertise of areas and names, they said, I don't think this is German. And I said, nope, we have huge family stories that have been published. There's published documents. There's published scholarly documents saying they are Hessian soldiers and they're German. And for those of you who know me, this is the infamous Barrel Boys story where the kid came over in a barrel and wasn't allowed out. Come to find out, the Germany project did a tremendous amount of research for me, and they disconnected my line. So sometimes connecting is about disproving and disconnecting the line. Because if they hadn't have done that, I'm still stuck in Germany, and I'm now in France. So that was the power of collaboration. And there were several of them that went digging for me. And this was just every day Wednesday that they were doing this for free. So that's kind of the power of collaboration. Sometimes we get good surprises, and sometimes we get, you need to change the road you're on. So our next question that we have is, why do you think collaboration is so powerful in genealogy compared to working solo? And as we know, and if you've been doing this long term, genealogy is very lonely solo work. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to my husband and said, hey, look, in 1789, this guy named Jonathan, did this. And he's like, whatever. Whatever. I'll go to my brother, and my brother's like, I just want to know, am I related to William Wallace? Am I his brother? And I'm like, no. So who would like to take this question? Okay.
I would love to start because I keep a notebook next to my desk, and you may not be able to read it, but let me tell you what it says. It's an African proverb. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
That is exactly why collaboration is so powerful. It takes you so far.
Anybody else like to answer?
Lovely.
I was just talking about this at the OGS presentation yesterday, and the fact is we have 1.3 million members on WikiTree from all around the world, and they all have different experiences, different expertise. They live in local areas that we may not know anything about, but they definitely do. And we get to take advantage of 1.3 million people's expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I have a question about something I'm not as knowledgeable in, I'll go to G and say, I need help with this area, this topic, whatever it is. And people will come along and share their expertise very, very willingly, and I'm very grateful for that.
And we do tap in to this expertise that's on WikiTree. I was thinking of Greg with your Quebec. I would have no clue. I would be totally clueless if I had that in my line. But I know from us sharing, whether it's on Discord, G2G, within our own individual project interests, or we're watching the live cast, I have a kind of idea who I can bug for help.
Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking of the same thing about the Norwegian farm books.
Right. Well, and the whole aspect too of the fact that, so I'll admit to having done genealogy now for 60 years. I started at 12. And, so the aspect of what was available to me at 12, I have rediscovered in, the very well-documented Quebec families and the Nova Scotia French Acadian families. I've discovered errors from what I learned back when I was 12, 15, 16. And, thanks to collaboration, thanks to French Canadian genealogical societies and groups like WikiTree, I find out, oops, I went down the wrong road with that one because it wasn't well documented back in the 1960s when I got started. So now I'm getting more up to date, and now I have more resources. So people guiding me both here in WikiTree and in our local societies, it's just marvelous. And then, oh, by the way, you go to a locale. My husband and I were in Quebec just 2 weeks ago. I learned more information there that I had been mistaught. So, so a number of people, well, I won't go into it because it's a longer story, but nonetheless, you find out things both in more modern times, but then also if you have the opportunity to go local, to go to the places where they lived and worked and died, you get the truth of some things that otherwise they're sort of myths floating around. So, yeah.
That's a really good point, because I know, so as most people know, my main project is Appalachian. We have a phrase within our culture that you have to walk the land of your ancestors. And when your feet and you put your steps on either the mountain, the land that they own, the front porch that they own, that you feel those pioneers and those people come through. And then people around you start saying, who are you? And then if you say one name, oh, I know such and such, and I know such and such. And you also learn culture by going to a location, the history, and maybe a few cousins along the way. So that's a good point.
May I?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, just maybe specifically about WikiTree, is I think, we have all the expertise, like Emma was saying, which is really awesome. But we also have people who bring different skills and different interests. So you have people who love writing the biographies, and you have people who love finding sources or adding photos or coming through and adding the categories. So you get kind of this well-rounded set of people adding things that if I was doing this by myself, I would not be doing a lot of it because I don't have some of those skills, or that's not where I focus. So definitely on WikiTree, you have that coming into it too.
And thank you for that, because one of the things that I need to lean in more is the language project.
Yes.
So thank you for mentioning that. There are volunteers, and as I mentioned, I was looking through German records. I had no clue there was an old German language that is very difficult, but I don't speak French, for example, or Italian. So there is also a language project that is, I don't think a lot of people know about, but I believe it's part of the global project, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, it might be under that.
Okay, so let's move on. And we kind of talked about this, but do you have an experience as well? And as we ask these questions to the panel and the guests that are here, please feel free, answer them in the chat as well. We're curious about your answers as we go through the questions. What makes WikiTree uniquely suited for this particular collaborative research?
Everything about it.
I would say one tree.
It's
one
worldwide. It's
worldwide.
worldwide.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, no matter what time zone, you can interact with people. You can get answers. You can get help.
And since there's only one profile per person, then all your research notes and collaboration go all on the same person. It's not scattered across. So that helps.
And it's
and
free.
I'm on Discord all the time. I love being able to ask questions and usually get answers quickly. I try to answer questions too.
And it's intentionally set up for communication. We have the G2G forum. Now we have Discord for real-time discussions. There is no other website, genealogy website, that's set up that way. Even ones that are One World Tree, they do not have the communication system set up. So WikiTree makes it very, very easy to collaborate with other people, to ask questions, to get help quickly, especially when we're on Discord. People are answering right away.
Right.
Yeah.
It really does feel like a community, right?
Yeah.
It feels like, we're a bunch of collaborators, friends, professionals, peers, whatever. That, and for me anyways, as a huge extrovert that I am, that's important to me.
You and me both, Greg. Lots of people to talk to. Yes.
Yeah. When Discord became a thing that we connected WikiTree with, that was a huge game changer for me as well.
Yes.
I think another piece that makes it uniquely suited is from the technology infrastructure, the ability to have projects and groups and put with like just helps immensely when it comes to helping you get insights.
Yeah, for sure.
And the same name research groups, right? I mean, trying to find people that are connected through their surname, and then documenting things with DNA and, all of that. I mean, WikiTree uniquely has a corner on that.
I think you're right. They really do. And we have this one shared tree. This is sometimes a difficult concept for people who are new and that come from a site where they're allowed to have their own. My 20 cousins are allowed to have their own trees as well. So this is a one shared tree model that we have to encourage the better documentation, the sources, the accuracy. And how do you suppose we tell people this? How do we explain the one shared tree, the one profile?
How do we explain it?
How do we explain it to somebody who's new?
Usually, well, I steal from Meg's explanation. The first time I went to Roots Tech, Megs was there, and I just listened to her spiel over and over again, and now I've almost got it memorized. But basically, she said, if you and me, she's talking to someone who's just walked into the booth, if you and me, we share a great grandfather, and there's be one profile, and I've started out with this profile, and I've got these sources, but there's a middle of his life that I'm not sure about, but you are descended from another one of his children, and you can fill in that, and then together we can work together, and So,
and you might have a Bible record. She might have a photo that neither of you knew about. And that encourages that better documentation. And then you're both looking at the profile and saying, wait, maybe his tombstone's wrong. I have this document that says he
Mhm.
was born, and
Right.
that's how you improve the
Right.
accuracy.
Yeah.
WikiTree's. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Elle.
No, I insist.
No,
Well,
you.
just
No, you.
to piggyback on what Greg was saying when it comes to the family model, the way I describe it to people is I use my grandmother. My grandmother had 10 grandchildren. And she spent time in each of our households between her, her kids, right? And I would say, well, think of grandma. There's 10 of us. We all have different experiences, different memories, different things that we could tell her story through. And so having a collaborative platform to do it, like WikiTree, is perfect because we all bring our own experiences and knowledge to her, what we know about our grandmother.
And now I would love for each of them to add a memory.
I was
Agreed.
going to say that. I just knew you were going to say
Okay,
that.
that's my challenge now. Let me
Greg's
make that
like
my
on there,
challenge.
so I was like, you know
Mhm.
that would be so cool to see everybody's memory. Just give one memory. That would be so cool to see.
Okay, that's my homework. I'll get on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we all need to do that. We all need to buy in. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question I have is, what are some practical ways researchers, and by the way, we're all researchers, we're all family historians,
Right,
so we're talking about us. You all and us, we're all the same people. So what practical ways researchers can connect with others on WikiTree, whether they're brand new, if somebody just joined this week, or someone who joined in 2012?
Projects. Join a project.
I agree.
When I first joined WikiTree, I looked around at all the projects and I was like a kid in a candy store. And I literally joined pretty much all of them because they all were so exciting and interesting. And I wanted to talk about. And finally, I realized I couldn't be in that many projects. It wasn't realistic. But, you can try out the projects, talk to the projects, see what they do, see how you participate. Different projects have lots of things going on, goals they're trying to meet, work that they're trying to accomplish together. And being able to work on a shared task like that is a lot of fun.
And G2G is
Well,
a
and
great
there's a
spot to
whole.
go.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you can ask questions anytime. You usually get an answer quickly, and it's on there forever. And it's very searchable on Google. I think Google indexes G2G even faster than the profiles typically. So yeah, G2G is always a good bet.
Just for new people who might be here, G2G is genealogist to genealogist. It's our forum. I know we've said G2G a bunch of times, so I thought it's our forum where you can come and post and ask questions and get help. And if you're never sure what to do or where to go to the forum. You'll find an answer there, or at least get pointed in the right direction. Find an answer.
And there's also the new member help sessions, which happen twice a month.
Right. Right.
And isn't there one happening every day this week? Something like that?
Almost every day. Yeah.
Almost every day.
We're going through our new member how-tos. So.
Yeah, and they're fantastic, and they're great for people who are new to WikiTree, but everyone's welcome because we all learn new things.
Exactly.
So. Yeah.
Well, I was going to mention the private messaging that we can do. Certainly a lot of people maybe will gravitate because I've done this French Canadian stuff for so long, and they might reach out, but they're not willing to make it public. They're insecure about, like, they don't want to admit what they don't know, or how their family didn't share. It might be embarrassing, right? So the private messaging helps them to feel comfortable to be in WikiTree and share until they feel more confident about what they're knowing and what they know about their family particularly. And, sometimes I've had a couple of WikiTreeers, send me messages where, they know that their ancestors came back from a war and had an alcohol problem and blah, 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 which was why they didn't share about their tree. They were ashamed. And to give them the opportunity to voice that and to know they're not alone kind of gets into a little bit more of the psychology of what we all do. But we all have similar issues that our families have dealt with, maybe not in current near generations, but somewhere in the family line, perhaps. And the private messaging capability helps people to feel comfortable making a friend with just one person instead of a whole big group. And for those of us who are introverts, that's like a big deal.
But we do talk about generational trauma. So if somebody comes in And
Right.
says, why do I have to have this or act like this or something like that? And then they find you
Right.
on WikiTree
Yes.
and your profile.
Mhm.
It becomes now a small community of two, but then you start growing. So that's a really, really good point. And you help me into the next question. The panels this week have been so great about helping me into questions. So how can collaboration help resolve conflicting information? We're going to take this in two steps. We're just going to talk about conflicting information right now. And so, Judy, if I come to you and I have this family story that is completely different than what you have been able to completely source document, how does collaboration help with conflicting information?
Well, the really key element of that is the documentation, is the citations, right? You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a conflictual, somebody being angry kind of conversation. It could be, okay, I understand that that's the story that was handed down to you. I understand that that's what you've always been told. But let's look at what we can find that documents what we know. So let's look at the birth record. Let's look at, there might be a divorce record. There might be, a baptism that indicates maybe this child didn't have the parents that you thought, et cetera, et cetera. And so it helps to take the anger out of it, the potential of conflict by surfacing, well, what are the facts? Let's just stay with the facts. And then we can flesh out the story at some point, to see if there's something behind that might have been, you've got the wrong name, right? It might have been, certainly in our French Canadian families, all the guys are Jean-Baptiste and all the girls are Marie, right? So, it might have been about somebody else and not your direct line, but you just misheard the story when you were 10 years old and you've been holding that. Let's look at the facts. Let me help you. So that's the way it helps with potential conflict. And certainly the deeper issues of enslavement or abuse or forced deportations like my Acadians or, all of the different native tribes that went through tons of abuse. And, we can help with documentation to get to, well, what's the truth here, in the level of fact truth, right?
Yeah. And then piece the story together based off of your sources.
Right.
And then let's take brick walls. Who would like to take the brick wall part? If you have a brick wall, how can collaboration help you on WikiTree break that brick wall? We talked a little bit about it, but how do I get started if I'm new? I have a brick wall.
That's a big question because there's so many different answers to that.
And I would say probably one of the easiest things is G to G.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Where I would start.
Yeah,
and see who may have experience or expertise in the area that I need to break the barrier.
You'll reach the larger audience if you go on to G with that. Okay, so
and even on your tree though, there, the fact that you've posted about an ancestor and you can write in text that says, look, I don't know where this person's from. I don't know who their parents are. Please don't post something here unless you have a source, right? So, it helps to remove that, potential of conflict, but it also references citation. Yeah.
And I would like to add to that. The research section that we are able to use on the WikiTree profiles makes a difference because we can post, as Judy was saying, what we do know. And also we can give honor to the stories we have heard because what if there are no is no documentation, you can still in the research notes say, this is the story that I've heard. And you could at least document the story and then keep doing the work to see if you can apply, and find sources to go with that. So I think that research section is really critical for areas of conflict, for helping break brick walls, because you can state what you know or what you question or what you're unsure about.
And you know what? If you've heard that story, maybe a lot of other people heard the story. So if you prove that story wrong, don't remove it from the research section. Keep it and then explain that we don't know if it's correct or if you disproved it. Right. That too, but don't remove things that you have found that are wrong. I love that research note area for that. I know that my husband's line is incredibly difficult to research because there's just not a lot of DNA testers. He needs DNA testers. And so I have on a couple profiles with the last name Patak, and I am convinced it is a line I need for DNA. I don't have any real proof. It's just one of those, family historian feelings you get. So I have a little banner that I have actively seeking DNA testers for this line.
Okay.
Please contact me with a link to my profile. And it's been there a year. I still don't have any, but I'm not giving up hope. I cannot tell you where else I could put this information other than WikiTree.
Another option are the free space pages, which are different than the profile pages.
Yeah.
Free space pages on WikiTree you can use for pretty much just about anything, but it's a great place, if you have a complicated case or something like that and you're trying to get to the heart of it, it's a great place to lay out, here's these sources or here's what we think about this. And, if you have a really detailed thing, that's a good place for that too.
I have got a lot of sandboxes. I call mine sandboxes because they're literally you're sifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea. Good one, Sandy.
One thing I'd like to add is just having your tree on WikiTree sets you up for the potential to break down brick walls. And I can give a personal example. I had a German ancestor, and someone was just happened to be working in the community where my ancestor was from through baptism records, and they put the baptism record that I would never have been able to find at all on my ancestor's profile, and it had the name of the parents. And
nice.
so now I have another generation, and they were just doing daily business, whatever they like to do on WikiTree, and they just broke down a brick wall for me, and I didn't have to do anything to make that happen.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Well, I like that I can use WikiTree as or at least to me, it feels like the statement of record. I have a brick wall, James P. Scoggins. Y'all have probably heard me talk about him before, but I got a message from an Ancestry user about 6 years ago that my tree was wrong because there are 2 James in the censuses and they were different. I needed to sort it out. I never ended up talking to him. He kind of just disappeared. But I took his note. I looked at it. He was totally right. And it changed all the genealogy my great aunt had done for us, etc. So now I have it all straightened out on WikiTree. And Lewis Kessler kindly straightened it out for me on Family Search because I just didn't want to bother with it. But he did, so that was really nice. But yeah, now WikiTree is the statement of record. I've got all the research notes, and I've got both James Scoggins sorted out. So anyone who's curious can look.
All right.
Like
And
kind of
collaborate on it.
It's your legacy now as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been to his gravestone, all that stuff. He's my guy.
kind of along those lines, one thing I hear people say a lot, and it's probably just what Chris said, is like they have another place that's their playground and where they kind of try and sort everything out. And then when they think they have it perfect, then they bring it to WikiTree. But WikiTree can be your playground. Like we have the free space pages. It's like Sandy was saying, like maybe it's wrong, but it's out there for other people to see and correct at some point. If you have it in your own playground where nobody sees it, no, you'll never know. There's not that opportunity for it to be fixed. So WikiTree can be your playground for collaboration and for help and for another set of eyes. So don't feel like you have to have perfection, before you add to WikiTree.
Yeah,
I have not met anybody on WikiTree who has corrected my information and I was upset about it. I've been through. We're all human, right? And we sometimes we transpose. I can't tell you. There was one day the 1800s magically became 1950.
Yeah, how's that happen? If I waited for my apps to be perfect, I'd never publish a single app.
Yeah, amen. Very
Not
true.
the band chart. I need the band chart.
Yeah, you wouldn't have it if you had to wait for it to be perfect.
Yeah, that I'm seeing in the chat, we need to have a brick wall sticker. You know,
Ooh.
We
and
have,
then
I
at
know
least
in our
it alerts
project we
people.
have one. We created
Yeah.
one. So I'm going to take a little pause, and I'm going to let everybody catch up in chat and also in the studio to say, I think we have just overdosed on the love of collaboration. And I'm so
Yes,
happy
yes.
that you know, we've shared all our good tips and our good tricks that we can do it. I've seen your comments as well in the chat, and they're really awesome. And I've noticed everybody's happy,
Yeah.
right? So everybody's smiling about this
Sorry.
collaboration. They're having fun.
Except the puppy dog.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, maybe the collaboration's needed with Newton. Oh, that could be what it is. Somebody wants Newton. So as we talk about that, and thank you, Chris and Eowyn, for giving me this segue. So what do you think the biggest misconceptions are about sharing the research?
I've got one that I hear a lot. If I put my information out there publicly, someone will steal it.
Exactly, the stealing.
And do what with it?
Yeah.
Sell it for millions of dollars?
Put it in
Like,
their-
you know,
Put it in their tree and take credit for the work. That's
Yeah.
kind of the thought.
okay. And
If it's the
so we're
truth,
all
then go
doing
for
the
it.
work. Go ahead, do it. Be blessed. Take my photos, take my DNA, whatever you want. You know, as
Maybe
long
not
as
the
I find
DNA.
another cousin. I was like, what are they going to do with it? I keep asking. So I have this brick wall in my Elliott family, and I keep asking. I've tracked all of the descendants, right? Like from this ancestor down.
Mhm.
And I keep asking the men in that group, you know, please test my DNA. And they're
Mhm.
all like, no, they'll use my DNA. They'll clone me. They'll do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, seriously? Seriously? You know, there's laws about stuff like this, you know, like stop.
I will say, if you watched the DNA panel yesterday, and if you haven't, definitely watch it. But Blaine Bettinger actually answered the question
Yes.
about what happens if I give my DNA, who's stealing it, who's doing it, and he had a
Right.
great answer for it. And I'm going to paraphrase because you know, I'm a fangirl for everybody that was on that panel, and he's like, "We would have heard about it. There are what do you say, 50 million DNA
Yeah,
tests that
something
are
like
out
that.
there. I think
Right.
if somebody was cloning and stealing, we would have heard about it. This would have been big news."
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So definitely share. And I like, yeah, if you're putting it out there, and this is a big thing with photos, people get very, very touchy with photos. If it is your fourth great grandfather, I guarantee you it's going to be shared across the web. If you
Right.
Mhm.
And
Right.
like on Ancestry, it'll get attached to the wrong person sometimes. And on WikiTree,
Yeah.
it's easier to correct that. So, I mean, there's risks, but I think the benefits far outweigh the risks on sharing your
Exactly.
research.
Agreed.
And I think we all have benefited from others sharing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if
Very
you
true.
benefited from something someone else has shared, imagine who will benefit from what you share.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
That's
If
And
you're
true.
concerned about
okay.
photos, you can always put a little watermark on it or something like that. I'm sure
Mhm.
there are deeper technical ways to work on that too, to try to track where your photo went. But anyway.
I do a lot of the survey or cemetery surveys a lot, and I've had somebody download an entire cemetery's worth of work and upload them one by one as their own. And I'm like, we're talking about this particular cemetery, it's my grandparents, and it was over 400 tombstones. I'm like, if you're going to invest that much time to that, have at it. You know, have at it, because the way I look at it for cemetery tombstone photos, I don't really own them. That person's gone. It's a picture. It's not a beautiful, you know, photograph of George O'Keeffe or anything like that, painting. So have at it, enjoy it. And I'm going to ask you guys to get pretty specific here for the next one. Can you give an example of how community projects within WikiTree, the challenges? We have a lot of challenges that we do. We have a Connect-a-thon, a Source-a-thon, the Wiki Games, the Friday night date nights, the Sourcers challenge, the connector challenges that we have every month, the individual project challenges. Emma has a huge one, and Elaine with the 1880 census, or the teams have improved your genealogy work. Who would like to take this?
I have an example.
Well, I already shared about the challenge that you all helped me with in Poland. I mean, it was the most amazing experience after, 40 years of having one of my cousins say, "No, we're from Austria." "No, we aren't, dude. Why did the women in the family join Polish nun orders? Why is the family eating Polish food? We are not Austrian." And when that breakthrough happened, needless to say, he was the first one on my email list. But the challenge was incredible. I mean, starting at the week and then midweek a check-in, and at the end of the week, like screen after screen after screen, sharing this, showing that. Here's what we found. Here's this record, blah, blah. Blew me away, just blew me away. And now potentially we're going to have a one name project that maybe will help me with this crazy Elliot guy that I've been looking for 40 years.
Right. Wow. In the U.S. Black Heritage Project, and Emma knows this, I was really taken with the community team's efforts. And one thing that has done for me personally is really helped me think more holistically about people. So where did they worship? Where did they go to school? Who was in their network? Like through the community teams project, we're really capturing all the fan club, all their associated, clubs and organizations. Like it's just been amazing to help me increase and broaden my thinking as I'm sharing the story of this person. Not just their dates, but their story, their people, their network, their community. And I've really just continue to build on that over time, because we are more than just those facts, right? We are we're part of this expansive living, breathing network of people that we're connected to over time. And to be able to map that out through WikiTree has been incredible.
Very much so. I know in my project with Appalachia that we have certain regions, and then we break it down by certain states. And if somebody comes to me about West Virginia, I'm all on it, and I can tell you probably in 10 seconds flat. If somebody asks me about Kentucky, I'm lost. I'm not as good as that. But I can tell you right now 3 people instantly that will tell me just like this. One of our most popular notables in our project are the Hatfields and McCoys. And I cannot tell you how many times new people to WikiTree, existing WikiTreeers, will literally force their tree to be related to them. This happens, right? So what we've done is we have people that are related in our project that are related to these lines that watch them. So as a project leader, I know they're my notables for the project and I should be watching, but giving responsibility within your projects to other people and to creating teams within your projects has really helped me, relieve me to be able to work on my own lines. And then they are going and working on their own lines and protecting some of our popular notables that we have. Okay, let's move on to the next question. And this one is tough, right? Especially if you have disagreements, and I'm thinking more along the lines of what we call MPEs, and I call MPEs is my way of saying it. That was not the parent I expected it to be. And usually DNA comes up with that, or a source document comes up with that. But how do we build this trust? Because it's one profile per person. It's one tree. How do we build this trust and keep communication healthy and kind within our community? And as we know, disagreements are going to come up.
I think oh, go ahead, Greg.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, I think the way you sort of ended that, your question is the key is to be open and invite conversation, and not come in judgmental and saying this is it and this is the end of the story, and brook no discussion. It has to be an open and inviting conversation, and I'm hoping that we are all modeling that sort of openness and whatnot, and I've had some disagreements with some facts and stuff, and actually even in building one of my apps recently, I was coming at it from a different way, and I had another WikiTreeer had a different point of view, and we went back and forth, and eventually, and I was open to seeing there was sort of a logic issue that I was coming across that I was butting up against, or we were butting up against, coming from different angles. And it was because of that openness and willingness of each of us to sort of step back and sort of rethink and see it from different points of view that we were able to come up with a solution. And the app in the end is better than it would have been otherwise. So
and
that
collaborate. And
that collaboration really worked. I mean, and that's an app specific example, but the same sort of things happens with profiles and.
And Greg said exactly what I was going to say. Two extroverts. And the first thing we think of is communication. Like, keep a very open space where people are comfortable and know that they're allowed to talk about, the disagreements or whatever they need to talk about.
And I saw, I think Eowyn put it in, don't wiki, man. Don't wiki.
Yeah.
No.
I wanted to talk about WikiTree specifically for a moment. We have a process in place to help with this. It's our conflict escalation process. It's designed specifically to help you be able to navigate difficult situations, right? It's a beautiful, like Chris wouldn't really dream this up. It's like a beautiful part of WikiTree. If you haven't gone and looked at this, you really should, because there's basically a flowchart that when you're upset or frustrated or confused, you can go here and it will say, is this the situation? Then do this. If this is the situation, then do this. And it will help you navigate to deal with it by yourself. It will help you navigate to maybe go post in the G2G forum where you can get help and eyes from other members. Or if necessary, it will help you figure out how to get help from one of our mentors. Maybe there needs to be someone in the middle that helps you find the actual question and the problem and work out the differences. So I don't know of any other site that really has that in genealogy. So I think that's another thing that makes us unique. But it's definitely use that. Anytime you think I have a problem or I have a conflict, go to that page and go through that flowchart, and you will end up doing the right thing probably and be in the right place to get help.
And I don't know any other place that's willing to help that. And I like the flow chart because it also will tell you that sometimes you need that independent person. You need to walk away. You need that independent person to help out. And that's what brings collaboration back to, as Judy said a couple answers ago, let's bring it back. Let's remove some of these emotions and bring it back to the sources, the documentation that we have and we go through. And the next question I have for you, or what are some non-WikiTree community resources that pair with collaborative work? As we're talking, we talked about disagreements. People are bringing in information for these profiles. And if you disagree with it, I might have a birth certificate. Emma might have a Bible record. Elaine might have a source document. And Judy might have a death certificate. Greg might have a photo. And Taneya's coming in saying, but I have a funeral card, that might be
right.
So all the different sources of resources. So what pairs well with specifically collaboration on WikiTree?
Local archives, Facebook groups, societies.
All of them.
All of the above.
All of them. Yes.
I feel like in the U.S. Black Heritage Project, that is one of our top goals, is like find as many groups out there that we can collaborate with, because it just makes our work more robust if we're getting information from these local groups, these big groups who've already done the research, or they know these families, they know the area. It's very powerful.
And
not everything is ever going to all be online. Nobody has all the money that it would take to scan everything. And when you collaborate on Facebook and, certainly here in WikiTree, there's somebody out there that's going to turn their chair around, reach into their marvelous bookcase and pull out something and photograph it and send it to you, right? Or type out what it says. And, so there's never going to be enough money to go around for all of us to get what we want if we don't collaborate. We can find stuff that, somebody's got the odd book that isn't even published anymore. It's ancient, but it's correct.
Someone in the chat has put, I think it was Pamela, put down DNA. And because of the amazing way that WikiTree has integrated DNA connections,
Yes.
You know, if you find a DNA connection and check on your, you know, how you match, you know, on the DNA websites, then you can see, you know, that could lead to other trees and other potential cousins, and that opens up a whole new avenue of collaboration. And maybe you can bring some more people over to WikiTree.
It really does, especially with the FTDNA collaboration.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing now. Yeah.
Right. Correct.
And I just want to touch on Judy's point. I used to volunteer archive in a small community in West Virginia. And I can tell you that out of everything in that building, and I'm just going to talk about papers. They have a lot of museum quality items that are donated as well. But I'm just going to talk about papers and sources. I would say 25% of it has been digitized. And I think I'm being kind. I think I'm being kind. And I never saw an end point. I think they might be, if I say 25, and this was 10 years ago, I think they might be at 26% right now. So
Right.
You make a very good point. And we've had WikiTree symposium presenters from archives talk about it, the archive lady that has talked about this specific issue. But if you have a really hardcore research or brick wall, and Judy, again, I'm going to use your example, go. Travel to the place, because they are more than willing to sit there and say, I have this. Because a lot of times we have index of general names, like this stack of papers came from this person. It's not indexed. I don't know what's in there, but I'll let you go look at it. Let's go pull the records and see what it is. So definitely travel to your local archives. And they are going to be really good sources because families donate to them. And if you're from the southern United States, we have called burn counties where the documentation is gone, and we would not have anything unless families did donate some of those things. And I can tell you, nobody at all was going to go and digitize my 5th and 6th great cousins and things like that. They're just not. But I could go to the archives and find it. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. And this is more of a personal question. So those of you in chat, please answer as well. How has collaboration changed your personal approach to genealogy? And we're talking about your sense of ancestors. So your connection to your ancestors, and how has collaboration really changed your approach or your feeling with your ancestors? As we know, genealogy can be lonely. It can be solo. And as we find our discoveries, we turn around and go, hey, and look what I found, and nobody's there.
Right.
Well, for me, the extrovert me says, after this collaboration, and now that I know that I'm related to, well, as Chris Feriolo said in the chat, half of Canada, including cousin Judy over there. You know, I share my French Canadian ancestors with so many people, and I just, you know, the world, almost everyone's a cousin. So that's, you know, for me, that's really empowering.
So when you
we're all at least 16th cousins. I don't know if you've ever heard that. It's mathematical, right? I mean, there were only so many people on the earth.
That's right.
You know, 18 generations ago or whatever. We are all related. So the more we find out, the bigger we build our tree, the more cousins that, you know, have information that we don't have, the more we can feel unified with the world, the more we can think about things in a broader perspective.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. And I mean, I was adopted, as you know, I've told this story a number of times. But I was quite happy with the family that I grew up with. I mean, it was a loving family, and I had lots of cousins growing up, and aunts and uncles. I think I counted. I had 7 Aunt Marys, like aunts who were named Mary. And that's before I discovered the French Canadian Maries. You know, of how many Aunt Maries I had.
Right.
But so I had a pretty big family growing up, and I felt connected and to that. But being adopted, you know, it sort of stopped right there, you know, sort of thing, because I knew that I wasn't biologically connected to, you know, the ones before, but the ones I knew or I felt close to, right? But then once I made the DNA connection, and then with WikiTree expanded that, because that's where I discovered and expanded the Douglas and the Marcoux, the line. Then all of a sudden, not only was it just the people I grew up around and knew that I was close cousins with, then all of a sudden it really was the whole world was my oyster. And
yeah.
To add to what Greg said, thanks to so many brick walls being broken down for me on WikiTree, my tree is very unique because if you go down each branch, it's a different country. So I would literally have to be an expert in like a dozen countries in order to build my family tree. So that's why I'm doubly grateful for WikiTree and the multiple experiences and expertise. But thanks to the breaking down of brick walls and knowing more about my family over the ocean, I've been able to connect to cousins in DNA because I now know how I'm related to these people, and we're able to talk about our shared ancestors. I wouldn't be able to do that, if those brick walls, the collaboration hadn't happened.
Do any of you think about every once in a while, let's say 15, 20 years ago, I think all of us were pretty much our family historians way back when, at least then, and think about where you were then. We were probably doing paper, right? We might need a little bit of computer, but probably doing paper, probably going maybe to courthouses or archives. When did MySpace came a thing? Things like that. And then you sit there and you're with your people and you know where your brick walls are. And did you ever think back then, I don't know how I'm going to break these brick walls?
Of course. It seemed impossible back then. And now with WikiTree, everything feels possible to me.
Right.
And I feel so much more empowered. When I do the work with the U.S. Black Heritage Project every day, I feel empowered because I know we can find the answers if we work together to figure this out. If we do the work to process these documents, every day is an exciting day to wake up and work on it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I like
amen to that,
empowerment.
Amen.
Yeah. Empowerment, I think, is really key because, when you're researching for particularly individuals who were enslaved because of the work of the Black Heritage Project and doing that in such a coordinated and organized fashion, it all really feels possible. You're not left alone trying to figure that out.
Right.
And Judy, did you want to add?
Feel more connected to my ancestors per se, maybe a little, but what I get really excited about is seeing new DNA connections listed on the WikiTree profiles. So after I add another generation and then go back down, or recently Liz Kessler added a whole bunch. And so now I'm wandering around checking out all these living WikiTreeers that I can greet. Some of them have been on recently, so I can actually talk to them, and that's really exciting.
What's funny about that is I was looking at my grandmother's profile about 6 months ago, and I saw that exact thing happen that somebody knew, and I was like, whoa, wait, how do you know my grandmother? And I was sitting there like, maybe so I reached out, and she goes, I have no clue who your grandmother is, but this is how we're related. So she ended up having some photos, talking about photos of her side of the family, and I had photos of my side of the family. So you're right, as you add the profiles and it propagates up, you start to see the DNA connections. Now let's talk a little bit about CC7, which is our connection that we have to the 7th degree. And for those of you that are new, think of the Kevin Bacon game. How are you related to, how many steps are you related to Kevin Bacon? Has the CC7, it's been around, we've really been started talking about at least 2 years. Has that increased your work on WikiTree to boost up your profiles in your CC7?
I don't have time to work on my own family. No. So the answer is no. Why do people ask my CC7 instead of me?
See, because the reason why I'm asking, we'll put Greg on the spot, is we have something called ROCK, which is Random Acts of WikiTree Kindness, and you were recently rocked, that's a collaboration.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that was great. I mean, it got me over the 2,000 mark. So because I was sort of hanging around 1,500 for the longest time. I think I'm over 2,000 now, right? Let me just double check that, or am I lying?
If not, we're going to have to make it so.
It is 2,093 as of today. 2,093. It went up from last week. Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm got over the 2,000 mark. But yeah, I hadn't had a chance to do a lot of work on it, just like Emma had said, but people helped out. And what was fun was that Patty Waldron, who nominated me, was also nominated, and so we were both
that's fun.
on it at the same time. And I attacked doing some stuff for him. He did some research on my Irish side, going actually to a physical building to look through the archives and record what he found on the laptop, because that stuff was not available online, and you couldn't even take a picture of it. You had to just make notes of what you saw in the. So he did that, again, as I think it was Emma or Judy was saying earlier, people going physically to places to do research that you just can't get online. And that's the beauty of WikiTree, that people going out of their way just to help you find records and information. So yeah, it was great. And I know it's a huge target that lots of people have, and in a lot of the thons, that's sort of their focus, is let's improve your personal CC7. So it's it's a nice measure, but I mean it is just a number. But yeah, I think it is a good thing for people to look for. So yeah.
And I mention it because earlier this week, in one of the cubicle parties for WikiTree week birthday celebration, we were seeing how we connected to each other that were in the cubicle party Zoom. And some people were like, oh, okay, well, I'm 10th or I'm 15th cousins. And it was the speed cousining. And it was so much fun. I was having so much fun. And then some people were like, across the board, and this was a very large party, wasn't it, anyone? There were a lot of that some people were like 25, 35, away. And I was, this doesn't make sense to me, because the CC7, and it doesn't. So I went to look at their profile. Their CC7 might have been 200. Or, they were all under 500. So what we were able to do is quickly say, okay, we can work on that. And Lisa, who's in the chat, she heard, wait, you have Canadians? Right. So she started jumping on it right then and there. And then we said, well, we need to rock these people, because they're taking nominations now to rock. And Lisa went up and nominated as well. So
awesome.
It was instant collaboration right then and there. And again, I just want to mention, it's free. These are the kindness of heart, because we all share this addiction called genealogy. Right?
Yes.
And it's not curable. I've tried.
Not curable.
It's not curable.
Well, thank you, because I won't try now. Thank you for posting. There's a category, WikiTree Day attendees. If you click on that and click on the My Connection, there's several pages to go through. There's at least 2 pages to go to. You can see how you connect to everybody who has that particular sticker or category on their profile, just like major conferences for genealogy that you get information say, hey, you've got so many cousins attending this conference. Well, now you can do that with WikiTree and say, hey, I got so many cousins that are attending WikiTree week here. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up the questions that I have for you guys. And it would be, what one piece of advice would you give somebody who wants to become a better collaborator on WikiTree? I didn't say this.
I would say schedule time to do it.
Schedule time.
Schedule time.
Schedule
project.
And I think communicate. Either one-on-one, on GGG, or put a comment on a profile even. Would work to get the attention of if there's a profile manager. If there's not a profile manager, even putting a comment on the profile, somebody's going to see it, because that profile belongs to somebody's grandparent, right?
The easiest, I think one of the best ways would be to join one of the challenges. So whether the Rock Challenge or the WikiTree Challenge, the monthly WikiTree Challenge with genealogists, like we did with Judy. Those are, they're just week long. They're just a week long, so it doesn't take a huge chunk out of your life. And it's kind of focused, and it also, like, lots of people are very friendly and very communicative during that. So you get a lot of opportunity to talk with others and see what's happening.
I have one.
What you got?
Okay. Approach every profile with a sense of curiosity instead of ownership.
Oh,
Amen.
that's huge. That's
Mhm.
huge.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yes, my second great grandparents are not only mine. As Taneya had mentioned before,
Yes.
there are a lot of grandkids. So, the ownership. That's a great point.
And now, to speak to some of what we've discussed already, don't be afraid. Jump in. If you do something that is quote unquote wrong, which nothing is wrong, people will help you. Just
Yeah.
jump in.
Mhm. Most
And also,
definitely.
we also have 20 tags we can follow that we can add on our profile, and that helps us collaborate with other people on topics and surnames and locations. So I recommend filling all 20 of those tags in with things that you're interested in.
And you guys are giving great answers in the chat as well. And we've mentioned this a couple of times, but I think it deserves mention again. To become a better collaborator, hang out on Discord, go to G2G, ask questions, ask for help. There is never a dumb question. I guarantee you, there are chances of someone today putting up a question that has been answered before many times is going to happen, and you're going to still be met with the kindness from the first 20 people who might have answered it since the beginning of WikiTree. So there's not a stupid question, there's not a dumb question. Feel free to go to G2G, go to Discord. WikiTree has a fantastic selection of sub channels. There's just the general chat where you can kind of chat about anything. There's a tech channel. So maybe you're having problems with one of the apps, the text app that you would like to use, the source or something like that. You're trying to pull sources over. There's a tech channel that can help you as you go along. There are project channels. Each, projects have channels that I can tell you in my channel, we are super chatty. We chat all the time. And if anybody says, hey, I need this help, or I have a question, whether it's a WikiTree question, like how do I do this, or how do I get my profile to look like this profile, or how do I research this ancestor in this particular location? As Elaine said it, someone's answering, someone's on it. Okay, as we wind up this event, anything that you all in the panel would like to add about collaboration in WikiTree?
They're synonymous.
Yes, they really
They
are.
have to be it's so successful that they have to be. I can't imagine any other way.
This website has just helped me become a better person. Like, I guess that sounds weird, but like, it's a huge part of my life. And Emma really helped me a lot, like just helping me become a better leader, a better researcher. I learned something from everyone. People have been on WikiTree forever and not, and everyone's respectful of new genealogists and old pros. And I love this community so much.
I double what you said. I agree.
Well, I'd love to add the aspect of I love being in rooms where everybody else is way smarter than me, and I can just sit there and take notes. And WikiTree is like that. Kind of everything I drop into this week, and I've learned so much stuff just by listening to these incredibly smart people like all of you. And they're out there, and we just don't get the opportunity to meet them because it's expensive to go to conferences or whatever. But here we can do it at our desk with our fuzzy slippers on and our stretch pants or whatever. We get the chance to just be with incredibly smart people and just sit back and learn.
I will add that I was looking for a place for a community, a specific location community, and there are a lot of chatter and noise, and I just wanted genealogy work. And I didn't want to hear about the politics of the day. I didn't want to hear about the disagreements and things like that. And my particular project, Appalachia, has a lot of chatter and noise, and I just wanted to change the narrative of my ancestors and fellow ancestors of Appalachia through genealogy. That's really truly all I wanted. And WikiTree gave me that opportunity in that place. And I started the community with myself, and I forced my husband to join because he has a profile on WikiTree. And then before I knew it, less than 24 hours later, one of my favorite WikiTreeers, Liz Shiflett, said, hey, I know this person, and I'm going to help you. And she helped me build out the pages because I would not have had the time or build out the pages for my project without her help. And then it kind of exploded, and it became a community within WikiTree where we are encompassing as one of our favorite things to say when people goes, well, I don't know if I have ancestors from your area or from this area. We accept everybody. You know, if you have a question, we'll try and help you and answer. But for me, to give my particular research a home that I know will stay, because my son is not interested and he's never going to be. So to give my particular location in my people of Appalachia a home on genealogy with accuracy means just the world to me. But to have like-minded members who I have now considered, I've got friends for life because of WikiTree that I would have never met just doing this solo all over the globe. I have met people all over the globe. I talk to some of them every single day as if they were my own kid. And I just want to thank WikiTree for giving me a place for a community. And before Sandy cries, we're going to go ahead and wrap up and say happy birthday again to WikiTree.
Yes, happy birthday, WikiTree.
This is the power collaboration we have on WikiTree. I thank each of you that were here in chat watching live, as well as those of you watching after the fact. Thank you for your comments. We love you. We have seen your comments, and thank you to those in the studio. As Judy said, I learned something new from everybody on WikiTree every day. I'm learning, and I appreciate your willingness to collaborate. So happy birthday. And every time I end a webcast, I'm going to say, eat cake.